Hey, welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we're going to dive into a really powerful concept from Eckhart Tolle. It gets to the heart of why we suffer emotionally and, maybe more importantly, how we can find some real peace.
You know that feeling, right? Some tiny, insignificant thing happens, and boom, you're suddenly spiraling into anger or despair. It really makes you wonder, why do such small things sometimes cause these huge, over-the-top reactions? So, let's get into it.
So, where does this all start? Well, a lot of the time, the problem begins with our mind's constant nagging need to react to everything, a state that Eckhart Tolle actually calls being trapped by the little me, or, the ego. So this part of us, this ego, it takes everything personally. It's always asking, okay, how does this affect my story? It's constantly judging, labeling, and trying to shove every single experience into a script it's already written. And when life, life being life, doesn't stick to that script, that's when the ego freaks out and just clamps down hard.
And what you're seeing here really just spells out the difference. Without that little bit of internal space, your life is just this constant tension, right? It's this nonstop voice in your head going, this is good, this is bad. But when you start to cultivate that space, you can just perceive what is without that immediate frantic need to slap a label on it. But still, why are the reactions so huge, so completely out of proportion to what actually happened? Well, that brings us to this hidden saboteur, what Tolle calls the pain body.
So the pain body, it's more than just your own personal sadness from, that thing that happened last week. Tolle describes it as this dense energy field of old, unresolved emotion. And not just yours, but even the collective pain of humanity. And it mostly just hangs out dormant, kind of waiting in the wings for the smallest thing to wake it up. Okay, so this is how the whole cycle gets going. A tiny thing happens. Maybe someone doesn't answer your call. And boom, this huge wave of anger hits you. But why? Well, it's because the call itself isn't the real problem. It's just the little key that unlocked this massive, deep well of old suffering. This old pain then hijacks your mind, forcing it to cook up a story to justify that intense feeling.
Okay, so how in the world do you break a cycle like that? Well, there's this really powerful Zen story that just illustrates the whole thing perfectly.
Okay, so picture this. You have this Zen master, right? Totally respected, a pillar of the community. Then all of a sudden, the parents of a teenage girl storm in, furious, ashamed, and they're holding a newborn baby.
And his response to this huge accusation, all he says is that so? That's it. He doesn't fight back. He doesn't defend himself. He doesn't launch into some big story. He just takes the child, and he cares for it for a whole year while his reputation is completely shattered.
So a year goes by, and a girl finally confesses the truth. The father is just a local boy. And you can imagine, the parents are just horrified. They rush back to the master, apologizing like crazy, and ask for the child back. And this is where it all clicks. This is the core of his power. His response is exactly the same. Is that so? He just hands the child back. His inner peace, his state of being, was completely untouched by either event. The good news, the bad news. He met them both with the exact same calm acceptance. So, what's the big takeaway here? The master's secret is this deep practice of non-reactive acceptance. We could kind of sum it up with the phrase, so it is.
Now, it's really important to get this. This is not about being a doormat. It's not about letting people just walk all over you. It's about making a choice not to create all that inner resistance, all that tension. Because when you stop fighting reality, you actually stop blocking this deeper, universal intelligence that can flow through you and guide your actions in a much wiser way. So when you practice this, you start to see that you don't actually need to defend this mental idea of who you are. You stop feeding that old pain body with more drama. And you can still say a really clear, firm no to something if you need to, but it's coming from a place of peace, not from a place of angry reactivity. And here's the crazy part. You find that what you used to call bad can often turn into something good just by allowing it to be.
All right, so what does this actually look like for you in your day-to-day life? Well, you can start practicing this with tiny, everyday moments. And listen, the key here is to start small. Seriously. Don't try to accept some huge catastrophe on day one. Just practice with the little things, the minor annoyances. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Instead of going down that rabbit hole of anger in your head, just notice it. Notice that surge of energy in your body. And just allow it to be there, without judgment. That's it. That's the whole practice right there. And just remember, the goal here is not to make the feeling disappear instantly. It's to stop identifying with it. You aren't your anger. You aren't your sadness. You are the silent, conscious space where all those feelings come and go. Think of it like this. You're the sky, and the pain is just a passing cloud. So, we'll leave you with this question to chew on. What if real freedom isn't about changing everything in your life, but about finally, truly, no longer resisting it? Thanks for joining us for this explainer.